I mean, like, I know Harry's your dad and your boss, but you can't seriously like the bloke.
Hey, we're rolling, man.
I just got fired. Welcome to episode 7 of the Kingsgrove Sports Podcast. Well, that just ruined my day. Welcome to Stuart. How are you today, sir?
I'm well, Charlie. Probably better than you were.
Yeah, well, my morning
You
started out
wait
great.
till I tell my dad.
Hey, Mish, how are you, sir?
I'm well. Yourself?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. Welcome to episode 7, Kingsgrove Sports Podcast. The usual social media handles. Contact us on Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports, Twitter at Kingsgrove Sport. It cannot handle that S. Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports. So, gentlemen, what have you been up to since the last episode?
Busy enjoying Test cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Busy using Test cricket as inspiration to help coach here at Kingsgrove Cricket Academy, because I think it's been a good example of how cricket should be played. I've really enjoyed it.
100%.
Very good. And yourself,
Yeah.
Stuart?
Well, yeah, I've been enjoying watching the cricket as much as I can, and getting the shop ready for the busy Christmas period. So
Well, we are
there's a lot going on.
enjoying
We are
the
loving it.
Christmas rush at the moment, aren't
Yes,
we, at Kingsgrove
yeah.
Sports Centre? It's been quite good. Not that I would know, but anyway.
And how exactly does the Christmas period affect your role, Stuart? You're the inventory manager here at Kingsgrove.
just make sure I buy enough stuff. Make sure we've got some stuff. We've got stock in so that people can buy it and put it on a Christmas tree. So
And
Christmas
all the Christmas items. You know, like the knick-knack type situations.
yeah,
the knickknacks. You
those
can't forget
stocking.
the
Got
knickknacks.
to get those stocking fillers.
What's the knick-knack of the year for Christmas this year?
Oh, look, you can't go past a ball on a string. Any sort of ball, really. You know, whether it's like a swing ball, plenty of tennis balls, softballs, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, ball on a string, so you can hang it up and
Whack a few.
whack a few after watching some good Test cricket.
Good for your kids, good for your cats, good for whatever you want it to be. So how does Christmas affect you as the academy manager?
It's an interesting situation where, tomorrow we've got our first school holiday coaching clinic, so there's going to be kids everywhere. Then I actually get a break for about 8 or 9 days. And then for the remainder of January, it's just madness. I think we've got about 5 or 6 coaching clinics. It'll be an interesting, challenging, but enjoyable and rewarding period for us. So
Very good.
probably our peak period.
And if any of our listeners or viewers had kids or people that were interested in using the academy over the Christmas period, perhaps they can get in touch, use that hashtag KSC podcast if they want to contact us through that forum or Facebook or however.
Yep.
Or how can they contact you directly?
Well, if they want to get coaching, they can just email me at hamish@kingsgrovesports.com.au, or if they want to book in for the coaching clinics and see the dates and all that sort of stuff, they can just simply do that by going to our website.
Very good, very good. And if anyone wants to buy anything, that's probably where you'd contact me as a sales manager, salesnsw@kingsgrovesports.com.au. We've got a few topics to talk about today, gents. Obviously, the second test of the series of the summer, Australia versus India, has concluded. It's all level. It's one apiece. The new Perth Stadium, the first test match at what looks to be a great facility, or what I think is a great facility. Some have said it's a little bit bland. It could be any stadium anywhere in the world. What are your thoughts, Stu?
Well, it could. I mean, it could be. I mean, it was obviously everybody rates the stadium as for viewers, and it's obviously it's comfortable. It's a great stadium. It's nice and new. First test was interesting. Obviously, there was a lot of discussion about the pitch, a lot of grass left on it, and then day 2 it did some very interesting things when it was really hot. So that made it sort of lively, and it sort of calmed down obviously a little bit with some cooler days, and then as you would expect, most pitches you get a bit of variable bounce. That's what you want in a test match. So some kicked off a length, and we saw that with Shami in the Aussie second innings, where he just went through us and took a wonderful 6 for, and then you got the one that Pat Cummins got and a roll on the ground. It was. I mean, it sort of made for a good test match. Made certainly tough conditions and challenging conditions for batsmen. Whether or not it might have been maybe a bit too challenging in that regard, in sort of the survival sort of thing. So maybe not so much of a great contest.
We're talking about
possibly
the best cricketers in the world, and we want to see them challenge. And we have generally a bit of a whinge when the wickets are too flat. I really enjoyed it for what it's worth. Yeah, I thought that the pitch had some demons, but again, it made for intriguing viewing. And as the cricket-loving public, I thought we were entertained to a pretty good game.
Yeah, I thought it was a great test match. I mean, you still saw Virat Kohli score a magnificent 100. So if you're good enough, you could score. You could batter in it. Yeah, the Aussie Openers put on a good partnership day one when it was green, and you thought, that's a challenging, sort of decision to bat. I mean, everybody gets a bit, bamboozled by grass. You put grass on a wicket, and all of a sudden you think it's just going to go seam around corners, where it's not really doesn't really do that much. Not much here.
Yeah.
So but the Aussie guy, still batted well. 112 run partnership. Marcus Harris batted well, put it to 70. Then Usman Khawaja, great 70 in the second innings in different conditions. So it did allow us to see great skills from the batsman.
Well, ultimately, what you want to see from Test cricket, I think that people have been banging on about it for years, is you want to see a contest between bat and ball. And I think that, despite a few demons here and there, that overall the Perth pitch provided that. And for example, we mentioned already that Kohli banged a great 100. So if you've got that talent, you've got that skill, you can make runs. But then it also highlights the skills of the bowlers. And one bowler who I thought bowled a terrific spell on day 1 or 2 was Bumrah.
Yeah,
he was outstanding. He beat the bat, challenged the new batsman with a new ball. Having said that, I was really, really impressed by Marcus Harris. I think that
he didn't bowl
with the bat.
He stood up. He stood up. I love Bumrah.
Yeah,
how good is he? It's just that old classic story of a young cricketer playing to their conditions and basically not being overcoached or anything like that, and it working, and that rawness and that
and that strange
great story.
Action.
Mate,
it's a great story. I thought first time I saw it, I thought, ugh, another spinner from India. Way he just ambles in, and then all of a sudden
just
gives it that
straight
one.
arms.
Yeah, and 145
straight
kilometres per hour.
145 plus. Yeah, he bowled. He was even though Shami took that 6 for, like, Bumrah was probably their best bowler throughout the whole test match. He beat the bat a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, once again, it seems to be a tradition. We forgot to mention producer Nick. Now, you're not going to see him for those watching on YouTube because I forgot to bring my camera in. But Nick, did you see any of the test match? How did you?
No, I didn't see any of it. Just like the YouTube viewers can't see me right now.
Oh, there's a poetic
I'm
justice
happening.
in that, I suppose.
I'm happening, but some
you are
people just
there.
aren't seeing it.
Yeah.
Well, if you can have Nick's voice in your head, I suppose.
Thanks for the inclusion there, bud.
Not at all. It's better late than never. I suppose that's the theme over the previous 6 podcasts as well, isn't
True.
it? So back to the test match.
Yep.
And the series. Our predictions, I believe, I'm correct in saying when we sat here before, we all said it was going to be 2-1. You two said to Australia.
Yeah.
I said to India. The 2 test matches to come, obviously Boxing Day at Melbourne and the New Year test at Sydney. India have historically struggled in Australia. However, I believe there may be something in both of those pitches for India. How do you see that?
Yeah, I think the directive should be, as there apparently was a bit of a directive at Perth to keep it fast and green from the mouth of the groundsman, apparently. Maybe they should try and keep it the same, because that's probably our best chance of coming away with a series win, although Nathan Lyon comes into his own again, unbelievably, just keeps on getting better as far as I'm concerned. And you think the Indians would be equipped to handle his off-spin, because they come from a land of spin bowlers, but I guess it's the bounce that really sets him apart from any other bowler that they're used to batting against. So, if the SCG's got a bit of spin,
possibly. I guess it just depends on are we going to be 2-1 up going into Sydney, or is it going to be still 1-1? Is it going to be a draw? Hopefully the Melbourne wicket is good. It hasn't been the greatest wicket recently. It tends. I mean, obviously, the last Test match there against England, Alistair Cook probably could have batted for. Well, he probably could still be batting. it was pretty flat. It was pretty dead, and wasn't a great wicket. So hopefully that's sort of not produced. Hopefully they can produce a pitch that can get a result. Will be good.
There's been some rain in Melbourne.
Yeah, so it might be.
Yeah, there has.
Might
actually.
be slightly juiced up then, maybe.
I was down there a week or so ago, and it was definitely interesting weather. But then 4 seasons, 1 day, that old thing.
I think if we were to ask Stuart and myself again what our series prediction would be after the Adelaide Test, we probably would have started to change things around. Would you have kept?
No, I would have kept it. I
2-1?
mean, I would have kept it 2-1. I mean, if you look at the Adelaide Test, I mean, if we'd done a few things a little bit better, if the umpires had picked up the 16 no balls that they missed off Ishant Sharma, we could have won the Test match. So we could be 2-0 up by now.
Yep.
We played okay in Adelaide. We probably didn't play super.
Yep.
But we played okay. So and then we've played better in this Test match. I still think we can play better than that.
I think Ashwin makes a big difference to India. He'll obviously come back in for the next.
Well, I mean, either Ashwin or Jadeja.
Yeah, well, I can't believe they didn't play Jadeja.
Well, I think they got. I mean, they got spooked by the grass, and he got spooked by the grass. They thought there was going to be.
Yep.
Going to be more, and then I mean, it's just. I mean, Ashwin is a great bowler. It would be interesting to see how Ashwin would have gone on that wicket. We're comparing him to Nathan Lyon, but like you said, Nathan gets a lot of bounce.
Yeah.
Nathan seems to be able to perform on any sort of wicket. Doesn't necessarily have to be a turning wicket.
Yeah.
For him to do a job and to be an influence. I don't know if Ashwin would have done that. But perhaps Jadeja might have done that. Jadeja would have also helped with their batting as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Massively long tail.
Yeah. Ashwin hasn't had a good run in Australia, but I thought his form in the first Test was
he bowled well in Adelaide. Yeah.
So I think if India could turn back time, they would
find
probably
a way.
If they could find a way, they would probably change things up a little bit.
Probably, yeah.
Fair enough. We've spoken about the selection there for India. Obviously, they had a couple of injuries for this last Test match. How do you think that Australia's current squad is? For example, there seems to be a question mark over the inclusion in Test match of Aaron Finch. He's obviously got a finger injury now. Yeah, okay, he got 50.
Yep.
In the first innings, I believe.
Yep.
And then got out shortly afterwards. Then he got the finger injury as well. Why do you think there's such a question mark over his head, and is it justified?
Well, he hasn't come out and scored. I mean, he hasn't scored 100 yet. He's still sort of establishing himself as a test batsman, I suppose.
That first innings partnership though was
good.
Was crucial in the scheme of the game.
So if he can continue doing that, he's got an issue around his front pad, and the Indians are going to target that, and he gets hit on it a lot, or he gets or he tries to drive too hard outside of stump, and he saw in Adelaide, Sharma cleaned him up with the ball coming in. So he's got to work on that. He's got to work on when he's got to play his shots. But he's showed in the first innings that if he can control that, then he can play a decent sort of innings. And sometimes you just got to give blokes a bit of time to in a Test match, in a Test match environment, to get those few innings under their belt. He's only played 3-4 Test matches.
Yeah.
I think played a lot, even though yes, he is an experienced cricketer, he's played a lot of one-day cricket, but one-day cricket is different to Test matches.
I think the major question mark is, I think he deserves to be there, but the question mark was, should he be opening? Now, coming out of the UAE, I think he certainly earned that right, but then there's a situation where we play these T20 games for a Test series, and are our players, I guess, preparing well enough? And did they prepare well enough for a Test series when just prior to that he's playing T20 cricket, and then maybe he wasn't in good form coming into this series anyway.
Not in one-day form. Yeah, I mean you get the situation too where obviously he did play a Shield game, but Victoria wouldn't let him open the batting.
Yep.
I think they compromised and let him bat at 3. So Victoria's not.
See, now how does that make sense?
They're sort of saying Victoria doesn't run him as an opening batsman. He's better in the middle order. I guess it's who the squad is the same. They've kept the same squad.
Yep.
So if he doesn't open the batting, then who does?
Khwaja. He's an opening batsman. Used to be an opening batsman.
But I think they like him. They like him at 3. I think that's what they want. They want him at 3. That they sort of say, well, you put your best batsman at 3, and I think that's what we're saying that he is. Yep. So then, if he doesn't open the batting, who else does it? You've got to get someone else from outside the squad. Then, I think unfortunately Renshaw's not in great form. He sort of dropped off. His form sort of dropped off, so he's not really available. You'd have to go
Renshaw.
in with then someone who would be making their debut. Someone I don't know, like someone like Daniel Hughes, for instance. So Aaron Finch might just be the best option at the moment.
I think he proved that he is the man for the job. And he probably shut up a few doubters there. It just depends on how he is now with this finger injury, and it's nothing too serious. So you'd only imagine that he'll be there for.
They said no structural damage. So
yeah. But the big gap here was left by Renshaw. I think we were just waiting for him to score runs at Shield level, and sadly he didn't. Did it at grade level when he belted out 340, whatever it was.
Don't think you're going to pick him on grade form.
Yeah. So I guess that's.
Obviously, again, the thing is, now that everybody keeps talking about is the scheduling. Renshaw doesn't have a Shield game to go and score some runs. It's Big Bash time.
Yeah.
He's out. He's not in the Heats squad for this first game, so he's not playing. He's not playing Big Bash.
He's missed his chance, and I don't think we really want to go by T20 form in the BBL to go and pick a test team by.
No, I don't.
He's missed his chance.
I think we always talk about if you put some bloke in, you got to back him. So I think we just got to back Aaron to play this series and see how he goes. And then if it doesn't work out this series, then you might then you can look for the next one. But I think he's in for.
That's a good point. Give him the series. It's sort of the English curse, really, that you judge a player after one or two games and then drop him. As a consequence, England have had 600 or 700 players.
You tend to do that when you're not winning and you're looking for the quick fix. You're looking for that. You're looking for that instant fix.
It's called pressure, media pressure. It starts with media pressure, and that drives the cricketing population.
Well, the media pressure is another good segue, if you like, to bring up the topic of Shaun Marsh. Now, he's another one that seems to be always under a question mark. People are always saying, well, should he even be in the team? He's a nervous starter. When he gets going, you've said already in a previous show that you love his pull shot. You think it's the most aesthetically pleasing shot probably in world cricket at the moment.
Don't forget his cover drive. His cover drive as well.
Coming from a massive puller himself.
Mate, his cover drive as well. Sean is a good player.
What I was about to say
I'm just going to skip straight over that.
Yeah, well done.
You saw in that the second innings the first innings in Perth. He got some runs all. So he can do it. He's just got to get past 10. Sean's got to walk out about imagining he's on 11. And then...
Or go and have a hit in the nets before he walks out to bat.
Just be in the nets.
Have you told him?
No, surely there's people with better credentials.
Sean, if you're listening, go and have a hit in the nets before you go to bat.
Graham Hick, surely Graham Hick's telling you, mate, you're on 11, Justin Langer, you're on 11, Sean, go out and get some runs.
Here's a topic. You've just spoke about Graham Hick. I referred to he's one of his greatest fans, Shane Warne. Shane Warne put a lot of heat on Mitchell Starc going to this Test match.
I don't think. He's put a lot of heat on him before. He always puts heat on Starkey.
Yeah. So is he doing it just to fire him up and to get the best out of Starc? Has Shane Warne put his hand up as like, I'm just going to be the coach on the side here that needs to inject a little bit of criticism? Because remember when he did it last time?
Yeah.
Starc fired big time.
Yeah.
So
you'd like to think that Mitchell doesn't need Shane Warne, a rev up from Shane Warne to go and play well for Australia.
Yeah.
And let us not forget that Shane Warne's trying to sell a book at the moment. So any media exposure, he's never been backwards.
Shane doesn't need to be selling. Shane doesn't need to be selling anything.
Has he on TV? Sorry, I'm chiming in. Has he only got the one book?
He's probably got more than one, but he's selling one at the moment.
It's just so funny you say that because I've seen so many ads for Shane Warne books. I just figured he had a bunch.
He probably does, but he was in Parramatta Westfield last weekend doing a signing or something. So
I don't think at the moment.
Shane doesn't. I don't think Shane doesn't need anything to be selling to be outspoken.
But what I mean is that he's never been in sort of backwards and coming forwards through the media to give a bit of needle to either a current or former player or coach. For example, so for him to try and fire up Mitchell Starc, I'm not really surprised. There's been this cultural review into how the players conduct themselves on the field, but if he can fire someone up and get them angry enough that they're going to bowl with a little bit of extra heat, I don't care what country you're coming from, that's difficult to face. You come to Australia and face Mitchell Starc bowling at 150, that's not going to be fun.
So
I mean, the good thing obviously is like he's taking wickets. He's taking wickets up front. He's got rid of the openers early. Now, whether that's because the Indian openers are a little bit out of form, but again, if they are, take advantage of that. And Starc's been doing that, and he's hit the stumps most times, and he's got them out. He's got at least one of them out cheaply early, which is helpful.
Yeah. Do you think the fact that Starc's hitting back and actually, I guess, commenting back on some of the comments that Shane Warne has come out with means that, he's actually taking note and it might be one of those little factors?
Possibly.
You'd think he wouldn't need to be truthful. You're representing your country. And
it could just be a case of, look, he didn't bowl that well in Adelaide, but he's gone with David Saker, the bowling coach, and they've worked on some stuff, and it's worked.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it works, and he's not really worried about that Shane Warne's had a go at him, and he's come back and he's bowled well.
Yeah.
Now, Mitchell Starc is sort of widely renowned as having the best Yorker in world cricket.
Yeah.
Now, that's great in one-day cricket. I think it's an underused delivery even at Test level, especially when you're dealing with wrapping up the tail. Like, okay, it's all well and good to try and intimidate them, bowl short.
Worked well for Wasim and Waka, so
yeah. So
why not use it? Why not use it? If you can swing it and 150.
Yeah. I mean, if it's good enough to beat the top order players, like with the skill of a Pujara or a Kohli, no, he hasn't done that with a Yorker just yet. But if it's good enough to for the world's best batsman to have trouble with then tail enders, it's good enough to fly through.
Good for a lazy broken toe.
8, 9, 10, 11.
Just take a player out of the series altogether.
No, that doesn't feel good.
Cultural review. You touched on it. There's a bit of stuff, banter, and chat going on out in this game.
Yeah.
Funny how it's changed. That we thought what a good job Tim Payne did. Now I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
It was not. It wasn't. Had they said didn't overstep the line as they say. Where it wasn't personal, wasn't abusive. It was just he was the Australian captain. He was standing up for himself and his team and.
Yeah, and I'll take this opportunity to try and save my job because that's what we were referring to at the top of the show. Tim Payne behind the stumps. I think was it Rahane, the batsman?
No, it was Murali Vijay.
Murali Vijay, that's it. And after Kohli had got out, he turned to him and said, "Look, I know he's your captain, but you can't seriously like him as a bloke, can you?" Which is clever. I quite like it. It did make me chuckle. I did see a couple of news agencies report it as the greatest sledge ever given, and I thought that's...
It's not quite the greatest sledge ever, but...
That's a masterpiece in exaggeration.
I think there's a lot of genius in how low-key it is, really, honestly. It's so unassuming. You don't really think about how
the beauty of it had been the lead-up and what had been going on with the two captains.
Yeah.
Now, never before, really, had I seen two captains go at each other.
Oh, really?
No, you're not like that. I don't think I've never seen it like that.
Usually the captains are probably the two guys where you think there's going to be a mutual, and I think there is definitely a mutual respect there, 100%.
At least in one direction.
But they were almost getting ready for a boxing fight. You know what I mean? Where
like that thing where sort of Kohli walked in, and Kohli, I think he knew exactly what he was doing because I don't think there was any reason for him to walk in there where Payne was running.
Yep.
And obviously, Payne obviously knew he was coming as well because he sort of stopped and they just sort of bumped chest a little bit and then Payne sort of walked away.
Yeah, they tangled chest hairs
and didn't engage. So which was interesting, but it's been reported that Kohli sort of said, "I'm the best player in the world and you're just a standing captain."
Yeah. So that's not bad.
That's not bad. Yeah, and then the other one, obviously when Payne was batting and I think he might have played a missed one or something, and Kohli's walked up. If he gets that now, it's 2-0 boys. And Payne. Now
here's the difference. Though.
You've still got a bat, big head.
Yeah. Now here's the difference though. Kohli's was probably actually more of an insult because they're actually face to face.
Yeah.
Whereas Payne's to Vijay.
Yeah.
Was actually more. I'm trying to mess with your concentration here and go towards the teams.
I think that's that sort of shows probably the difference between banter.
Yep.
And sledging.
Yep.
I think maybe I haven't been on the field, so I'm not sure what sort of has been said, but I think maybe we went more towards the sledging, the simple direct abuse rather than something a little bit more subtle.
Well, that's the difference.
We perhaps maybe the blokes who were doing it probably weren't smart enough to come up with some witty one-liners where maybe Tim Payne is. So, perhaps it's just more about that.
I think you make a very good point there, Stuart.
Yeah, I think it's more about wrong with banter and sledging if you're clever enough to say something funny.
Yeah.
If
you just, anybody can go out there and just abuse a bloke. That's easy.
But so whether there's been different characters over the history of the game who've had different. Like for example, Mike Atherton would have been quite sort of suave and sophisticated about it, whereas Merv Hughes would have been as subtle as a flying brick.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what category to put Virat Kohli in at the moment. There's a little bit of intelligence,
but but he does get emotional, and that's where you can probably you might get the direct stuff. Where Tim is probably he plays a little bit, is a bit cooler. So he just brings out the the more subtle stuff. He probably could do the direct stuff if necessary, if it's needed. But otherwise, you watch. Obviously, it is entertaining to watch Kohli in the field. Because the funny thing is, obviously, when he got his 100, he did that thing where he said, "Oh, I'm letting the bat do the talking." But then you watch him on the field, and it's very much. Yeah. It's very emotional when they get a wicket. He's very pumped up,
There's a lot of body language.
There's a lot of body language going on.
So what's your take on Kohli at the moment? Has he crossed over a line?
I'm not sure if he's. There's always that comment. Where's the line and what is it?
Yeah.
He sort of said, "Look."
You got a lot of people whinging about it.
He sort of said, "I think that's because you either like him or you don't."
Yeah.
And obviously here in Australia, there's probably more people that don't like him.
Well, he's the opposition.
He's the opposition one. He's opposition captain. He's the best batsman in the world. He is. It is wonderful to watch him bat.
You've got to. I've got to say, I hadn't been really a fan, but I thought I'm going to watch him and try and understand the guy a little better this series, so I can just not go with the flow and form my own opinion.
He's interesting because he seems to be he's very different off the field. I watched the interview that he did with Adam Gilchrist, and he was completely different.
Yeah.
He looked like he'd grown up. He looked like he'd recognised, those the errors that he'd done in the past when on the other two tours when he was sort of engaged with the crowd and sort of his behaviour wasn't great that way, and he looked like he'd sort of I'd understood that.
Yeah. There's a bit of white line fever.
But I think still when he gets out there, he is very pumped up about it. He is very emotional. Look, I don't usually have the pressure of 1 billion plus people on my shoulders.
That's
at Georges River.
I know. No, not at Georges River, unfortunately. No.
36
up the capacity at Bexley, I think.
36 to 50 people, the weight.
Even then,
we'd be happy with that at Macquarie Uni.
I don't know how that affects when you go in the field. I think it is that little bit of that white line fever.
And the other thing is,
I think it's in it's in the field. Like when he bats, he's not. He doesn't seem to have that. He doesn't bat with that emotion. He bats to the situation, and he bats. He bats for the team, and obviously a lot. His runs are very important to the team.
100%. And unless you actually pay a bit more attention, like Hamish has said he's going to do with Kohli, you only really get the main flashpoints that the media tells you about. Yeah. And let's be honest, the media hasn't been too kind in Australia to Virat Kohli and his attitude. So I think to get a real picture of the guy...
it's easy reporting in that, isn't it?
100%.
To do that.
Selling papers.
You can pick out the individual bits and pieces and put a story together, whereas it's more. I'm more interested probably in him as a captain and see how he's going as a captain.
Yeah.
Because obviously, they were behind in the game, and what do they do, and how do they try and get in front, and sort of looked like they didn't really have a great deal of options.
Yeah, there were 50 or 60 years where the Australian public weren't used to the Indians being aggressive, and now they are.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to cop it sometimes. No. I just think Virat Kohli has got one major ambition at the moment, and that's to win and to be the first captain of a winning Indian team in Australia.
I think at the moment it's just to win anywhere away.
Yep.
So to that end,
I would say when I say away, I said out of Asia.
But he wants to beat Australia.
If you can beat Australia, yeah.
He wants to beat Australia. There's years of stuff that's been going on, and he wants to win.
100%. Yeah. So with that in mind, are we sticking with our predictions? You think it's going to be 2-1 Australia?
I'll still say 2-1. Yeah.
So you see that one of these games is going to be a draw?
Possibly. Look, you go to Melbourne. I don't know. I'm not sure the weather forecast in Melbourne, but there's a chance it could rain. Look, the last couple of Sydney tests have also been affected by rain. In recent history. So you could get rain somewhere. You'd think. So
I think we were going by historical
and hysterical
viewpoint where traditionally there's always a draw, but the way the two teams are playing, And the fact that there seems to be a bit more in it so far for the bowlers, I don't think there will be a draw now. So that's the only thing I'd change. I think there's my heart talking a little bit when it comes to me predicting a 2-1 victory. I wanted Australia to win.
No Desmond.
And I still felt the Indians would battle in Australia with the different conditions. I'm a bit confused as to where I'd go now. I think the Indians will be a better team and they'll bounce back.
I agree, Stu.
In the next two test matches.
I'm still going to stick with 2-1. Obviously, just overnight the day before, they've obviously been dealt with another injury blow that Shaw is going home, the young opener that hurt himself in the warm-up game. He's going home. He's been ruled out for the last 2 test matches, so that's a big loss to them because there's obviously they've got 2 opening batsmen that are not in great form. So what do? Are they going to have to stick with them? Is there someone else that can open the batting? Are they going to they're going to drop one and try and get another batsman in there, shift someone up? I don't know. Pujara can open the batting. I don't know if Fahane can open the batting.
They just have to call Tendulkar back. That's the only thing.
What's he up there? What's he doing? So, because they brought Pandya into the squad, but I mean he's an all rounder, and I don't see him playing really with the guys that they've got here. You know, you need to get Ashwin back into that team, probably more so for the extra batting. So, will be interesting to see what they do with that. So yeah, if they keep that, I mean, obviously if they keep those 2 openers, it's a little bit weaker for them, which is good for us. I'm still going to predict 2-1.
Okay, fair enough. For what it's worth, when I made the prediction that India would win 2-1, it was the one that I thought Australia would win was Perth. I just thought that it was going to be more pacey, more bouncy, and that's where the Indians would have trouble.
So you're on
track? Well, we're all on track.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, we're all on track. My only concern is, like you now, is whether or not there is going to be a draw. Obviously, weather's unpredictable. I think I'm going to do what you guys are doing. I'm going to stick with my prediction. I think it will be 2-1 to India. I see Melbourne and Sydney being akin to Adelaide and suiting India a little bit more than the Perth pitch did. So I'll stick with a 2-1 prediction to India. Just for a point of difference for the viewers as well. Maybe at the end of the series we can come back and talk about how right or wrong we were and gloat as necessary.
Draw in Melbourne would certainly make it interesting in Sydney.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing that we're not betting men, isn't it? Anyway, anything else that we want to talk about there on the Test series before we move on?
I think we've done a pretty decent job of covering it all.
Yeah,
I think so too. Alrighty, so
okay, come on.
The only one thing, like we talked about India and their batting lineup and how they're going to respond. I think the question going into Melbourne is that Mitch Marsh for Pete Hanscom.
Okay. No Maxwell. Still?
No, they've kept the same squad. They've kept the same guys. So it's are they going to back Hanscom into hometown? Is he going to score some runs, or are they going to bring Mitch Marsh in? Because they've got. I mean, there's no other that's the only option really to put in. So that'll be the interesting one for the Australian selectors come Boxing Day.
Give him one more.
I think so too. Yeah, especially if it's his home ground, but that's just the sentimental person in me speaking. Viewers, give us your thoughts, and listeners too. Use that hashtag KSC podcast, as I mentioned earlier. Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports, Twitter at Kingsgrove Sport, and Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports 2.
Before we move on, how are you finding the commentary and the new setup?
From what I've heard, it's pretty good.
Channel 7, you happy with it?
I do like Kerry O'Keefe.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd probably watch more Fox than 7.
I tend to go to Channel 7.
I watched a bit. I mean, I watched a bit of the Channel 7 coverage. Like if I'm home, it's on, I can watch 7. I tend to watch a bit more Fox here.
I lean towards the Fox just purely because of the HD, and I can't get the HD at home
at work. So I mean, they're not too bad. Obviously, Ricky Ponting. It's always good to listen to Ricky Ponting. He makes a lot of sense. So which is good. But the guys on Fox are good. Kerry's always interesting to listen to.
Well, look,
Gillies a good commentator. Mike Hussey, again, is a little bit like Ponting. The way he thinks about the game, he understands a lot of it. So he gives a lot of good technical sort of stuff in it, which is good. So and Eshagu is a great commentator. So the Fox coverage is good. I think Channel 7's doing okay. They're warming into it.
I think there's a gap in the lineup for us 3 as well, don't you?
Oh
no, not entertaining that. Or do they just give the job to the guy that seems to get every other job, which is Freddie Flintoff? Top Gear, cricket commentary.
I don't know. Freddie's all right. He's okay. He's a decent commentator, but, you know.
Probably hasn't got time these days,
No, he's a busy boy.
He is a very busy boy.
Well, I'm just backing myself out because I'd rather be on the couch having a cold one watching, to be truthful. Boxing Day? You're not working on Boxing Day.
No.
That's true.
Well,
But
I don't know.
an excuse to go to the MCG.
It'd be great to be there.
Yeah.
It's great to be there, get to go out in the field, walk around, have a look.
Do you think the attendance is going to be big this year? I mean, last year I was
reckon
there on day one.
I reckon it'd be big.
Indians
It'd
alone.
be big in Melbourne, and it will be very much a hometown support for the Indians. I think it'll be quite. It'll be big. Yeah.
Well, if the T20s were anything to go by, one day
they will. I mean, they will come out in support. That's probably the disappointing thing about Perth.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the new stadium, it looked a bit empty. It was at the Wacker. The crowds they got, it would have been basically full, which would have made probably maybe a better atmosphere or something, or I don't know. But I reckon it'll be big. I'm pretty sure it'll be big on Boxing Day.
Well, last year I was there on Boxing Day, and I think it was 80-something thousand down there, which is incredible. I don't think it's going to get that high this year. So my prediction is going to be 68,000.
Yes, yeah. I think it'll be 60s, and with a large minority of them being...
What are we doing? We're predicting the crowds?
100%. Your turn.
80. 2.
101. I mean, like...
Wow.
101.
That's huge.
Raise the bat.
Well, like you said, we're predicting the crowd, so I just made up a ridiculous number. Yeah. It'll be like there'll be a big atmosphere because the Indians will create a big atmosphere because they'll bring their drums and their noise and stuff. So it'll be a big.
What, the Barmy Army don't?
And nothing to do with England, mate.
Just stop trying to bring the English in it. I'm just going to say it will make a big atmosphere.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
Let's talk about...
It's war of words all round in cricket this year, isn't it?
Give me this.
Just bring your sledging.
You give Charlie an opportunity to mention England, he'll mention England. Even when you don't give Charlie an opportunity to mention England.
I'm just now referring to his Sledger's handbook to see if I could...
for the listeners, I have brought in a Sledger's handbook, hoping to find something in there that would give some
check out our Instagram story. Hopefully, I may even post it.
The revised and expanded edition.
The unfortunate part about this book is probably the last line on the cover, which says, "Warning: this book contains language which may offend," which probably is a good reason to not read anything it.
No, not reading it next to it.
Alrighty, topic number 2: Kingsgrove T20 Cup. We had the semi-finals and the finals, and was it a surprise who won or not really? Do you think that's going by form?
I don't know. Oh, maybe. I mean, maybe a little bit of a surprise. I mean, Sutherland have played well throughout the whole tournament. I mean, the sides that made the finals were probably the form teams, I think.
Fair enough. So you think the four in the semi-finals. So the semi-final results: Sutherland beat St George, and Sydney Uni beat Penrith.
Yeah,
leaving Sutherland versus Sydney Uni in the final. And obviously Sutherland ended up on top.
So Hamish, you saw the St George Sutherland game.
Yep.
What did you think?
Look, I think
especially with the what was it? Was it like a 45-minute delay after 3 overs?
I think
small issue.
As far as a surprise packet was concerned, I think St George was that because they had a very young team without a lot of big name players, and they basically got through their rounds 4-0, 4-0, and including wins over Steve Smith's Sutherland and David Warner's Randwick Petersham. And there's a lot of emotion and just youthful exuberance that came out into the St George team. So they went into this Sydney Sixers conference final full of enthusiasm, and I think they lost an early wicket, but they started to get a bit of momentum, and then all of a sudden the side screen wouldn't move. And I think there was a stoppage of play up to 45 minutes. And after that, it's never quite recovered. That's not the complete reason why they lost the game. Sutherland played brilliantly, and they actually worked really well in the field, bowled well, and they took some outstanding catches, including Austin Waugh caught Curtis Patterson out just when you thought Curtis was going next level, and that could have been also the difference. Austin took a diving catch in the deep
point,
to remove Patterson, and again that was a big turning point for St George. They lost their momentum from there, and they probably ended up 20 30 runs short of what they would have hoped for. And then Steve Smith came out, despite wickets falling at the other end quite consistently. Steve Smith just sort of stayed calm and got them over the line pretty convincingly at the end. But if they had taken Steve Smith's wicket 5 or 6 or 7 overs earlier, I think St. George could have still won that. But, when you're dealing with a player like Steve Smith going back and playing for his club team, it's a massive bonus for them. They're a good team anyway, Sutherland. And I just thought, I thought to myself, even though we beat them in the rounds where Steve Smith was run out like miraculously, like a direct hit, I thought to myself, this final is going to be very difficult for St. George because Steve Smith's going to make himself be counted.
Yeah, moment of panic for him early on though.
Well, that was in the final. So obviously, so then obviously Sydney Uni beat Penrith. You'd say sort of fairly easy, won by 6 wickets. So again, Penrith probably maybe just a little bit short, about 126. Probably needed maybe a little bit more than that, and obviously Sydney Uni chose that down pretty well. But so obviously then in the final, Southo started well. With the bat, didn't they? I mean, they've got some fairly good power hitters up the top, and they sort of produced pretty well. But obviously when you call this the controversial moment of the final when Smithy came in, he got bounced. It was a good bounce. It was quick. It was on target, and he, Steve was a bit surprised by it. And he sort of leapt up, and everybody thought it came off his glove because Blake from slip ran around and took the catch. But it came off his shoulder. It was a good decision by the umpire. When you looked at the replay, it came straight off his shoulder. So, if Sydney Uni had got that one, they would have been really, really into the game. Smithy didn't have a big influence. He only made 19 in the final. It wasn't like that he batted all the way through and got them home. It was actually probably more their captain in Jamie Brown, who was the player of the final. He batted through, made 35 and got it done, and there was everybody else sort of chipped in with 10s and 12s and 14s and stuff. So they got the job done, which was good for them.
I think you'll find Steve Smith was the captain.
Oh, sorry. Well,
Brownie walked in. Sorry, Smithy, I think I'll take the captaincy.
He just should be. Kingsgrove Sports player, he should be. He should
man
be
of the match.
Man of the match. Man of the final. He did a great job. So, and then obviously, Southern actually were chasing in the final. Sydney Uni batted first. So
they actually ended up sort of having quite a dominant win there.
Yeah.
I mean, they won with quite a bit of time to go.
They did, yeah. And they bowl. I mean, Sutherland did bowl well as well. They put the Sydney Uni boys under pressure.
Daniel Fallon's one to look out for the future.
Yeah.
He was outstanding in both games.
Sixers player.
He, again, was probably one of the major differences when he came on to bowl at St. George in that first game. He started to take it away from them. He's an outstanding bowler, and even in the second game, he ended up with 3 for 22.
Yeah, 3 for 22.
Good figures for a leggy.
Yep.
Playing in T20, but
that's
overall,
leggies are the thing for you need to have a good leg spinner, maybe even 2 now in T20 cricket. They're the go-to.
Yeah,
they're the go-to players. If you haven't got a decent leggy, you're probably going to struggle.
Overall, I think I've got to say it was a fantastic competition. Really, it's sort of growing, I think, and I'd like to see it grow further. I think one of the reasons that it was probably more popular numbers-wise at grounds and stuff like that is that you had a lot of bigger name players like Smith,
Warner, Watson, occasionally for Sutherland. Yeah,
I'm not sure he played at all, to be truthful.
Yeah, he did. He played a few games early on, but
the early ones. So I think from our point of view, Kingsgrove Sports, and we do sponsor the competition. Particularly on social media, it was everywhere this time round. Yeah. Whereas I think it's flown under the radar in previous years.
So I think that the big thing with that obviously is the national Premier Cricket T20 competition. So both Sutherland and Sydney Uni will go to Adelaide to play against the other top teams from the Premier Cricket from around Australia, which obviously that obviously puts more focus on the tournament and gives. Apart from obviously, the prize money that we gives these guys more of an opportunity to get exposed at a national level to possibly maybe get into a Big Bash program.
I think you'll see a few of these grade blokes, particularly whoever does really well in this national tournament now. You'll see some blokes getting some contracts at BBL
level.
BBL
level, yeah.
Well, perhaps not WBBL level.
Perhaps not, no. I'd say BBL level.
Definitely BBL.
Yeah, BBL level, yeah.
Unless, there's a whole equality.
That's a different equality. That's probably a different conversation for us. Yeah.
For another time.
Yeah.
Massive congratulations to Sutherland Cricket Club then on their success in the Kingsgrove T20 Cup, and we wish both them and Sydney Uni all the best when they play in the national competition there too. Now, Hamish, you just mentioned the Big Bash. Obviously, that's coming up fast. Who are your standout teams? Obviously, we had Brittany Carter and Alex Blackwell in last time talking about the WBBL and how fast that's growing, and that's fantastic to see. Who do you think we should be looking out for in the Big Bash? Do you have any predictions as to who might win? Obviously, we want the Sydney teams to go well. I don't know if your loyalties are divided between the Thunder and Sixers at all. How do you reckon?
No, I don't like the Thunder.
His sister plays for the Sixers, so
I've always been a Sixers.
We're in
fan,
Sixers territory here.
Yeah, I've always been a Sixers.
We're
fan,
in Sixers territory. You're more Thunder territory.
I'd say that with great respect to the Thunder because obviously we've got.
Who do you follow?
We've got some Kingsport players that play. Chris Green.
Wait, insert English team here. Here it comes.
Well, no, to be honest, I don't have a Big Bash team.
Well, you should have.
I don't. We went to for our Christmas do a couple of years ago. We went to the Sixers versus the Thunder.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I don't know who I want to win here. I just want a Sydney team to win because I'm not naturally from Sydney.
You just wanted cricket to be the winner.
Cricket's got to be the winner. Kingsgrove Sports have got to be the winner. I genuinely don't have a team. I look out for players that I like. Obviously, the English-based ones. Sorry, Nick, got to put it in there.
Then you obviously must be supporting the Thunder then because you've got Joe Root and Joe Butler playing for the Thunder.
Look, I would like.
Was
them
that
to
you
go
just
well.
coming down from the fence?
No,
he fell off it.
I've still got splinters in the backside, mate. Sorry.
He fell off it.
Look, as long as the Sydney teams go well, I don't mind. But I don't have that sort of set loyalty that you guys do because I'm not originally from Sydney.
Yeah, I know. You tell us. If you're looking
have you heard that?
Yeah, I have. If you're looking for the teams to beat, you probably got to have a look at the Strikers again, defending champions. I think the squad's basically the same.
They're gone.
They're gone. You're out. Write them out.
They're old news.
Can't back to back it. Well, no, you've always got to look at them. The Scorchers are generally, always a good, tough team. Interesting to see they go because obviously, new coach in Adam Voges.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Justin Langer coached them last year, so different. They're also playing in the. I think they're playing at the Perth Stadium, not at the Wacker. You'd still think they'd probably get big support at the Perth Stadium, so that would be better for them if they're getting more people in there. If they can get 50,000 people into those games, that'll be a massive bonus for them. Yeah, I think it'd be a fairly even competition. 2020 cricket, you've got to probably have a bit of luck going your way. So, the Thunder squad is not too bad. So they'll be there and thereabouts. So
it's been said previously that you said you need a little bit of luck, but I suppose that's true about any facet of the game. With 2020, the criticism has been that it's a bit of a lottery. It's a hit and a giggle, but the more and more it's played, the more and more skill goes into it.
I don't think there's a lot of giggling going on about it anymore. I think it's pretty serious.
And I think the Scorchers have pretty much put that it's a bit of a luck on the day type situations because what they've been doing out west has obviously been working because they've been there and thereabouts pretty much every tournament.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so I think
what about Brisbane?
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I guess a lot of it will
will come down to how well Chrisling goes.
Yeah.
How well can Brendan McCullum keep it up and can he play well? It's going to come down a lot to those guys. So they put a few more young blokes from the Queensland squad into their team. They've left out guys like just in for the game coming up. No Renshaw.
Yep.
No Labashadne. No Alex Ross. So some sort of more established sort of players, they're out. They put some younger blokes in. So we'll see how that goes.
They've got some good spinners as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do fancy that. That'd be the team I'd be leaning towards. Have you noticed there's probably not as many international players or big name international players this time round? There's only one or two West Indians that I can
If
see.
there's certainly not the hype about it.
Depends on. Well, I guess yeah.
Is
depends on who
Gale
you
too scared to come back, or is he?
Oh well, I mean,
Poor Mel.
do you want him? I mean, do you want him? I mean, Chris was a fantastic player, but what is he now? 38. You know, so maybe is he too far? Is he too far gone? Are they going?
If they want him in the IPL, I think that's.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much he's getting in the IPL. I don't know if he went at the auction or not. Yes, I mean, I think if you look at that, sort of the people that are paying, the guys that are getting the bigger money now are these younger stars that are sort of coming up. You've got Adil Rashid, who is the best leg spinner in T20 cricket.
There seems to be more Afghans floating around than New Zealanders or English.
So I mean, I guess they maybe just so who we think is a big name player, or is not the person that they're looking for anymore. So again, like you're sort of saying, it's not that he can giggle. It's not about just getting like a big name player in, because he might not be what they need. They're actually looking for guys that can fill a role and do a job, and that might not be the guy with the biggest profile per se.
Yep.
But he comes in and he does a job.
I thought this show for a minute was lacking something, but no, we just got there. And that
What was that?
the Dave Jifkins look around the corner of the window.
He's just checking in.
I feel like we're back on track now.
I was right about that. I hadn't seen him because we're doing this a bit later. So
this is Handy Dave, our
bat repairer.
Can repair.
We've chatted about having him on for one. We're going to have him on the podcast.
He signed himself up.
Yeah.
He was first pick.
We've mentioned it a couple of times.
On his own draft.
We've mentioned it a couple of times in previous podcasts that people might not be aware that we have the ability to do that here at Kingsgrove, to repair cricket bats. So maybe that's something we can dive deeper into.
That's the only reason why I brought it up.
Yeah,
that's the only reason you brought.
Look, completely promotional and marketing purposes.
Well, I'm going to promote something because I brought a bat over from that country. I can't remember what it's called that I used to live in.
Yeah.
And it had a massive split through the toe, and I thought it was dead. And I took it into the West Side store, and this is before I knew Dave or any of the people, and definitely didn't work there. I said, "That's dead, right?" I went and bought a new bat, and he went, "Oh no, I reckon that could be fixed." Sent it off, got it fixed. I'm still using that bat to this day. It's a fantastic bat. So yeah, if you've got any sort of...
Are you actually using the bat?
Yeah, 100%.
Like you go out into the middle, but are you using it?
Yeah, well,
you use it often and for a long time.
I'm about to really put the mockers on myself here, but
don't do it.
I'm not out overnight, so and we're 3 runs away from winning when the Thunder and Lightning hit us. So I don't like the Thunder either at the moment. Anyway. Alrighty, gents, is there anything else that we'd like to discuss before we head on off and do something that we're supposed to be doing, and I go and try and save my job and bow down to Harry and tell him I'm really sorry?
Yeah, no, I'm just pretty keen to get that phone call to Harry and
Hamish just got Hamish got a phone call to
get the ball in motion and go from there.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty, well, I may see you, I may not, but please don't forget to contact us on those handles. You can see us on YouTube, you can listen to us on iTunes or Spotify or kscpodcast.com. Use that hashtag KSCPodcast. Thank you very much, Stu.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, Hamish.
Thanks, boys.
Producer Nick, thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Tricky.